Hello, everybody. It's Iris here. Good afternoon. It's been a while that I filmed myself, and well, here I am. I just don't really feel like it. There's some topics that I want to talk about, and then again, please tell me if you want me to talk about something else. If something that you have in mind. Right, today, well, there is a what the can't talk. I want to talk about three topics, but that is under the same heading. It's like the whole child approach. The whole child approach got five, right? So this one's got three under it. So I want to tell you about the three subheadings first. So first one is judging children by the way they look, and number two, making fun of LGBTQ children, and then number three, comparing children with other children. So these are like the sub headings, but the main heading I want to talk about is imprinted, right? Imprinted, programmed as a child, and it affects in their whole adulthood, in their confidence, in the way they see themselves, in the way they interact with other people, with other children. So it's gonna go on forever. So when you do these, well, these are the three things that at the top of my head. So it's age 0 to 7. 0 to 7. I mean, since they come into the world, 0 to 7 is called imprinting period, because children that age, they don't have critical thinking ability to reject what they are told, and so they get imprinted by whatever they are told by their authority figures in their life. When I say authority figures, it could be, well, of course, starting with mom and dad, and then aunties and uncles, grandparents, and teachers. Very importantly, right? Teachers, us, the authority figures. So they take it as, because they don't have the critical thinking skills, so they think it is true, it is right. So I want to share my personal story with you first. My own personal story, I was a really dark skinned kid when I was younger, and I think you can see from my face, I'm not 100% Burmese. My mom's Chinese, and then my dad is, well, mostly Burmese. He's still got some Chinese blood in him. Both of them are very fair, like fair skin. So I was a really dark skinned kid, and then I've got a big forehead, I've got small eyes. So so these things, I grew up with these things. I grew up thinking like it is not desirable, right? It's not desirable, especially in Asia, when you are a dark skinned kid, and then when you have tiny eyes, because it's the opposite, right? You want to have as fair as possible, and then you've got massive round eyes. You want massive round eyes. That's what you want in most countries. I would say all Asia. It's the same in Thailand, it's the same in Japan, Korea, India, Cambodia, Laos, you name it. So it's all the same. So it's not desirable, right? But then it changed when I lived in other countries, when I started to live in England, for example. When I lived in England, then people would come up and look at my skin, and they go, oh my god, your skin is so nice, why, how do you get tan like this? And I go, oh, that's my natural skin. I just look like this because they want to be tanned. I am sure you have seen people, like especially white people, they want to get a suntan, and then so they go to they do sunbathing, and then and another thing, all the creams that we have in Asia are all whitening, right? All the facial cream, all the lotions, everything is whitening. But in the West, I've lived in the UK, and I've lived in England and also in Spain. you will never ever see a whitening product. Everything is like bronzing, so to make their skin darker, to look tan. So my point is that's only my personal story, right? Then I found out that, oh wow, it's just one thing. I am the same person. I still have a big forehead, and I'm still not as light skinned as my parents. I still have small eyes. But then, it's appreciated, like beauty standards appreciated differently in another part of the world. Not in Asia, but then definitely in the West, it is something else. And then in the West, people like to what is that word? Individualism. Like be unique, be you, right? But then Asia is all about like blending in, don't stand out, blend in with the in the group of friends or whatever. Just blend in, don't stand out. All right, and then also that reminds me of, again, another of my personal story, but not my story. When I was teaching at British Council Burma, Yangon, I had these kids. I think they be around like 10. There was a Burmese kid, a very very dark skinned child. Like very sweet. I remember he's tiny. He's got a really sweet smile, but he's really dark. And then I got another kid, a lot bigger than him, and then he's Chinese. I mean Chinese Burmese, so he's really pale. And he was making fun of the dark skinned kid, calling him names, not nice names. But then these things we are so used to these things in our society, like calling someone dark skin, calling someone charcoal, calling someone names like that, calling someone like, oh, I won't even see you in the dark, I will only see you when the lights are on, something like that. That's so used to in our society. Anyway, so going back to these two kids. So the bigger, the pale kid was calling the smaller and dark skinned kid names. And first I told him, like, don't do that, please don't say that, because it is not nice. When someone calls you names, someone calls you like fat, or these not very nice things, would you like it? Again, these are still kids. So he didn't stop. He didn't stop calling the other kid names. So then I ended up talking to my line manager. It might sound a bit over the top for if you're listening to this, if you might think like, oh, this is normal, this is what we face all the time, calling some kids big and fat and dark skin and big forehead, or it's normal. But it's not. No one should ever do this. And then I cannot let that happen, in my class, when that's bullying. Yeah, if you ask me, that's bullying. So yeah, I ended up talking to my line manager. Then we call his mom, the big kid, the big Chinese kid's mom. And then she came. She's not malicious, she is just she's nice, and she's a nice mom, a nice lady. And then she went something like, this is I'm sure he didn't mean anything by it. And then that she said she will make sure that it won't happen again. Well, that is good enough. And then again, kids copy parents, right? So I'm sure that kid hear this from his, maybe, I would say family. I would just say family. I wasn't gonna say family at the beginning. but then I would just say family. I'm sure he heard it from his family, or his aunts or aunties talking about it, or his grandparents talking about it, calling someone dark. Again, it is not his fault, right? That's our society. We call kids, we name them since they were really young. So that's what's normal for him. So to wrap up, right? I still remember what they look like. I still remember how that felt. Then this was like probably 7 years ago. So again, like to wrap up my first part of the videos. So judging children by the way they look, it's not cool. Please don't do that. And especially if you're an authority figure, if you're a teacher, I am not gonna let that happen, in my watch. I have never, and still, I will never let that happen. I mean, even if as a child that I don't know, that a child that I see on the street, I will never let that happen. So please, if you are an authority figure in a child's life, or if you know someone is bullying children like that, please make it stop. Put a stop to that. Okay, all right. So there are two more. One more is making fun of LGBTQ children left, and then another one is comparing children with other children. So why this is not cool? Why this will affect their whole lives, even as an adult. So think about it. When you what were you called when you were a child? If you were called not smart enough, and then you think you are not smart enough your whole life. If you think you've got a big, if someone calls you, you've got a big forehead and tiny eyes like me, and I grew up thinking that's what, that is still true, but now I don't care. Now I don't care anymore. I'm old enough not to care. So please like, love, share, comment, tag. If you have more questions, like how I handle the situation or whatever the question it is, please write in the comments below, and then I will see you in the next one. Bye everybody.